up everybody, this is Nick from Laidlaw's Harley, and today we're taking a look at the new Super Glide. So for 2026, Harley has reintroduced a very classic machine here. This is obviously heavily inspired by the 1971 FX Super Glide, which was basically the marrying of the FL frame with the Sportster front end, which is a story that pretty much everyone has heard about this bike. And then since that point in time, Harley has managed to build it on, I think, every single one of their middleweight cruiser platforms, starting with the FXR and then subsequently with the Dyna, and now on the updated Softail frame. In terms of what this particular unit is, it is obviously, as I mentioned, the Softail frame. It's got the 117 cubic inch engine, not the high output, but still a very potent motor. It's got spoke wheels front and rear. It's a 160 millimeter in the back, unlike a lot of the other Softails that have 180. When people look at this, sometimes they're trying to figure out what it is, and in my opinion, it's its own thing. You know, I think you could get into the minutia of what makes every bike its own individual thing, but for me, Super Glide is a bike with spoke wheels, classic paint, not a lot of frills. We're gonna have a single display here on the tank, on the center console. That's sort of a classic portion of the Super Glide, but it's something that I like to call an honest bike. It's just a straightforward machine, not a lot of extra frills, but everything that you would need. And these days on the Softail platform, it doesn't mean you're really missing out on a lot of features. The bike comes standard with cruise control. It's got LED lighting all the way around. It really feels like a premium, well-optioned machine, but it doesn't have a bunch of screens and extra displays and all this extra tech cluttering up the experience. It's very much about just two wheels and an engine. Some of the stuff that I like about this particular bike is that when you started to get to the less expensive Softails, it often meant that you had to sacrifice gasoline capacity. You went down to the 3.5 gallon tank, whereas this at the $15,999 MSRP comes with the 5 gallon tank, which for someone who does a fair bit of long distance riding, I like not having to have any kind of range anxiety. And one of the other things too is that a lot of the bikes that were either sub 15, sub 16, depending on what model year we're talking about, they were either the polished aluminum or they were all blacked out with sort of the wrinkled black coat. And this comes all chromed out, which I think is amazing, even down to the tubeless spoke wheels. So they're externally laced, and I haven't seen one in chrome, but it really pops. You get this sort of extra lip around the front end that really just kind of highlights the wheel as a nature or as a byproduct of how they integrate a tubeless design. So you get a lot of the perks of a spoke wheel in terms of the aesthetics, but you're more easily able to patch it on the side of the road with a plug kit, which was always a benefit in my mind. And then a lot of things that are just basically true about the updated Softail frame are of course going to be true here. It's got really nice suspension overall compared to especially the Dyna that it predates. Since it's a monoshock underneath the frame, it's got since it's a monoshock underneath the seat, it's got more suspension travel, a little around 3.5 inches of travel in the rear, which is considerably more than like the old Softails were, and even than a lot of or most Dyna models. So that means it rides quite well. The frame, obviously in 18 when it was redesigned, was lightened, and that just makes the bike dynamically better. It went to aluminum triple trees as well, which again makes the front end feel really responsive and light. In 2025, all the Softails got updated electronics and updated engines, so they all have 117s, and of course this is no exception. You've got multiple ride modes, and that's really the only sort of tech that you have on this bike that is something that you would actually have to think about and set. Most of the rest of the technology on this bike is kind of invisible, but you get multiple ride modes. You've got sport, rain, and road, and all three of them are really distinct from one another. And in sport mode, this thing, it pulls quite hard. And if you're coming off of something with a different throttle setup, you might take a little bit of time to get used to how responsive the throttle is. This particular bike is number 117 out of 2,500. It's a numbered bike, which is really cool. I always like serialized Harleys, and I think honestly, this, based upon it having the 1971 graphics, you could have probably made it an icon collection. Harley the last few years has gone through their history and produced an iconic model, but on one of their newer chassis, and I think it's a really cool concept. I love the El Diablo. I've loved pretty much every single one of the icon bikes that they've come out with, and those were all numbered machines as well. And so to me, it's kind of interesting that they pulled a bike from their history very clearly and numbered it and chose not to call it an icon. I don't know what exactly that means. Maybe Harley felt like it didn't have a unique piece of body work, because a lot of the icons either had like a really unique seat, or something that was on the bike that was different from any other bike in the model lineup. And so maybe that's why they didn't do it in this instance, considering that most of what's unique to this bike is down to the graphics. But the fact that they numbered it, to me, means that they could have easily called it an icon. So I think it's really cool that you're able to get a numbered bike for $15,999, including obviously all of just the wonderful features, because the Softail is a highly capable bike. It's got lots of aftermarket support, lots of Harley's P&A items are going to fit to this. You could tour on it, you could ride it around town, commute on it, and or just take it to a bike night and have something really special, because most people don't roll up on a numbered machine. So I'm a huge fan of it. I think the only thing I can really complain about is that they're only making 2,500 of them, which is a perk for the guys who get it. But as a salesman who wants to sell more of them, I selfishly wish that there was a non-numbered version, because I think it's a really cool bike overall. So reminds me a little bit of my 18 lowrider that I had, that I went to the trouble of blacking out, but they actually did a somewhat similar graphic that was a little more AMF inspired when they came out with the Lowrider Standard in 2018, when they redesigned the Softail frame. But that bike didn't have this wonderful pearl in it, and the graphics were a little less elaborate, and it didn't have any of the striping on the fenders. So I think this is a great option for someone who's maybe coming off of their first or their second bike and wants something that isn't going to pigeonhole them into only one type of riding. Where if their buddies call them up for a weekender, they could put a duffel bag on the rear seat and easily shoot 400 miles away from home for a couple of days. Or someone who wants a commuter. I mean, the base Softail platform's always been good for that. But I think where this bike really shines is for someone who wants to have something that's kind of niche and special, that they're not going to see too many of, because that's what a numbered bike almost always appeals to, but also doesn't want to spend $30,000 or $40,000 or $50,000 on a machine. They want something that is a little bit less expensive but still pretty exclusive. I think it's a slam dunk in all those regards. And also, on a side note, this is going to be relatively low maintenance from the looks department. I know some people complain about chrome, but Harley's chrome is basically indestructible, and a nice bright white paint job like this is honestly going to look good with a little bit of dirt and miles on it. So I think it's one of those bikes you buy and you ride it and you keep it, because it's just going to be a really cool special machine to have for a long time.
Initial reaction there.
It's a good bike, but not really a surprise. Always like the Softails. I haven't ridden a 5-gallon tank bike with the 160 in the rear for a little while. I've spent a lot of miles on them because I had my Slim. But every time I get off one of these, I'm just reminded with how sweet these are. And specifically when they redid the electronics in 25, I think the throttle response and the clutch feels really nice. Just all the touch points on the bike feel really good and responsive. And, the most recent motor I rode was the high output, but dude, the regular 117 non-high output, especially in a bike of this size, these things scoot. I said I want to rip on it because it's not broken in, but you can tell it'll pull. Great bike, just a good bike. And it's not bad to look at either.